You know, they had a guy that was on CNBC Squawk Box today that was guest hosting. I don't know. They should have had me as the guest host. They actually had me on earlier at 7:30. And I was hoping that they would have talked about me a little bit in this discussion. But they didn't, you know, and particularly when they started to talk about who should be the next Fed chairman. And, you know, nobody brought up my suggestion of A-Rod, because right before I came on, they were talking about A-Rod and the New York Post headline and, you know, about his scandal that he's in with steroids. And I said, look, let's just have A-Rod as the Fed chairman. After all, he's got experience with performance-enhancing drugs and artificial stimulus. And, of course, they never even addressed that, or even as they talked about it later on, brought it up when they continued to talk about Yellen and Summers, as if there's a big difference there. You know, I said it was like choosing between being executed by a firing squad or the guillotine. But, you know, they even talked about the fact that we think it's time for a woman. You know, like the monetary policy could use a woman's touch. I mean, what are they talking about, a woman's touch? Or they need a woman? What are we going to start is the money going to be pink? Is that what we're going to do? I mean, are we going to? Is that how you add a women's touch to monetary policy? Decorate the money, you know, different colors. You know, maybe make it softer. Maybe we should spray our bills with a little perfume. Would that do it? Would that be enough of a woman's touch? You know, I mean, this whole idea. I mean, can you imagine if somebody said, I think we could use a man in this position? Could you imagine the backlash from the feminists if someone said, you know, I think the Secretary of Defense should be a man? You know, I mean, men, you know, this is really a man's thing. You know, defense. You know, men are tougher than women. Imagine if somebody said, we need a man for this job, right? The feminists would be all over them. But somehow you can come out and say, I think we need a woman for this job. Yeah, I think a woman's touch is what's needed, a woman's perspective at the Fed. What does sex have to do? What does gender have to do with being Fed chairman? I mean, you know, it should be we need the most competent person for the job. But, of course, we know that's not the criteria. As far as I'm concerned, they try to find the most incompetent person for the job, and that's who they go with. Now, maybe they're saying that the woman happens to be the most incompetent person. I don't think it's because she happens to be a woman. Maybe she's just completely incompetent, and it just happens that she's a woman. So let's pretend that somehow having a woman at the Fed, because what? She has a greater understanding of what? I mean, you know, is she more in touch with her feminine side? And somehow this, what? She's going to be better at printing money than a guy who's not in touch with these things? What about a gay guy? How about if we just have a homosexual as Fed chairman? Would that be close enough? Because I don't think we've had any gays how about a transvestite or transsexual, something like that? I mean, haven't had any of those. I mean, maybe we've had cross-dressers. We just don't know about it. Maybe Ben Bernanke, maybe he is a cross-dresser. Maybe if he came out and told us that, maybe we would have more confidence in him, because we would know that he was more in touch with, you know, with his inner woman, and somehow his femininity was something that we need at the Federal Reserve. Look, you know, all of this discussion it's all shows you how ridiculous it is. I mean, we've turned over all this power over our economy to a banker. And what does he do? What is the instrument of his power? The printing press. He prints money. And now we're thinking, well, we need a woman to be in charge of the printing. Because after all, maybe she's going to do a better job of understanding just how much money we need to print. Maybe she's more in touch with the housewives that are doing the grocery shopping, and maybe she could have a better appreciation of the inflation that obviously Ben Bernanke is clueless about, because maybe his wife does all the shopping. But, you know, Janet Yellen seems just as oblivious to the plight of the American housewife as well, because she doesn't think there's any inflation either.